Hey, welcome back to the Miles and Points Report. It has been a couple of weeks now since we visited last. I apologize for the very unpredictable timing and scheduling here because we're pretty busy right now, and we're going to try and do better. I'm hoping that will happen towards the end of the year, but not just yet. Nevertheless, we're going to get it rolling, and we got a new face today, John Ryan, who's been working with us for a while. And John is in high school in Las Vegas and is very interested in the miles and points business. So we have he has started working with us in our various companies, and to learn a little bit more about that and to enjoy the contacts we have and to meet everybody. How do you think it's going so far, John?
Pretty good, and I've really enjoyed working with you and the rest of the team, and yeah, I'm looking forward to a great future ahead with FT events.
Yeah. And we're going to have John stop in with us as he reports from what is that? Is that a North Korean prison that you're in the interrogation
Uh,
room, or?
yeah, the school is representative of a prison in some ways, but it's a good school once you get inside. So
There you go. All right, so we got a couple of things to talk about today. It's not we're not going to make it as long-winded as we normally do with Rudy. We're going to try and cut it a little bit shorter, but let's start with the update of the week. And I didn't mention this one to you, John, which might not be very interesting in the miles and points, but there's a little bit of drama going on with a residential cruise ship, and it's called the Villa Vie. Is the company Villa Vie Residences, and they have their first ship, which is the one you can see here, which is an old ship from the early 90s. It used to be called the Braemar, and it's a smaller ship that hosts up to about 900 people. And the way this works, you pay $100,000, $150,000 to $300,000, and you own the cabin on the ship. It's yours. And you then pay a monthly fee, which includes all of the like regular things on a cruise ship. It includes laundry, it includes food, it includes alcohol with meals. I think 2 drinks per meal or something like that. It includes activities on board, like on any cruise ship. And it's supposed to launch I think in May. And lots of drama. They were told to come to Belfast, where the ship was laid up for a while. They were in hotels for a while. They were able to come on board during the day for a while. They got served and all sorts of fun stuff. So it was a little bit of a bumpy start, but they seem to be on their way. It's interesting in the sense that let me see, where's the itinerary? I hit the itinerary button. We worked last week, so even more fun with that, isn't it? Anyways, so they are now. They've tried to leave Belfast 3 times. They were out they were anchored up a couple of times over 3 nights, and came back into Belfast to fill water and get some more permits or whatever it was. And then they went to Brest, France, and were not allowed to disembark the ship because the port was busy, and there was a Disney cruise ship, and they were at a cargo area. So another fun thing there. And then they went to Bilbao in Spain, and then on to a couple of stops in Portugal. I think they're in Portugal as we speak. Let's look at the location where they actually are right now, because you can look that up, like the flight trackers, John. Those are the same things so they are looks like Gibraltar right now.
Wow.
And which is actually, they're in Tangier of all places in Morocco.
Wow.
So it looks like it's starting to work out. I guess the drama is kind of over, and and it's underway, and it seems like that would be like a new lifestyle thing to do. Do you would you live on a cruise ship?
Uh, so it's definitely like an interesting concept in my opinion, and I think like there's some people that I think it would work great for. And if you enjoy cruising, and I know cruising definitely can get expensive, especially since it's all variable and whatnot. Like if you were just booking like a typical Royal Caribbean cruise, so I think this is definitely like an interesting concept. I would consider it, and the pay-as-you-go option is good since like you just kind of look at the itinerary, and if there's something that looks interesting, then you could just decide to hop on. And yeah, so I think I would definitely look into it.
Right. So the pay as you go is not really that cheap, and
Oh,
it's quite inferior to other cruise ships for sure. Even though it's intimate in that sense, there's something to be said for that. But let's check out one of these cabins, what they're charging for it. So this is a live view of what's available. So the ones that are red have
oh,
been
you're not showing
sold.
it.
They have been sold. And the ones that are yellow have segment bookings, meaning that somebody had bought 3 months or whatever, something like that. So the ones who are available, these are window cabins, meaning that there are just a picture window, right?
Oh, you're not
And
showing the tab, the
yeah,
screen.
so let's see what we have what the cost. Here's an outside window. So you pay $169,000 for this outside window, and as you can see, it's a little bit old, but they've started to refresh the cabins. They got dudes on board. So you pay, if you're a solo traveler, you pay $4,000, including food, including, different destinations every day, including drinks, and all sorts of stuff that usually is included. So $4,000 to me, that's a little high rent, but if you add groceries and rent and all sorts of other costs and cars and insurance and things like that, I don't think $4,000 is half bad.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and just the thought of just being able to just get off for the day and go to XYZ city is a pretty awesome concept. So
Right. So it's 6,000 per person per month, though. If you
ooh,
$224 a day, and if you
okay,
by yourself, it's 358.
okay, that's
So it's we'll follow along. It looks like the drama is mostly over. That if you're interested in seeing what's going on and all the drama, you can just Google Villa V residences and YouTube, and there's a ton of old timers creating YouTube channels right now, and it's a lot of goofy channels, lots of entertainment, and for those who want to follow along on that. All right, let's go to the to do the Delta One lounges. There's some news on that. We know that the JFK lounge and the LAX lounge. The LAX lounge opened last week,
yes, correct.
and the Delta One loungers. How do we explain what they are? They're kind of like the Polaris lounge, if
Yeah.
to comparable to or not really like the. It's the only comparable lounge in the U.S. is the Polaris lounge because you don't get in with status except for the invitation only status Delta 360, right?
Correct.
But so you have to be in business class, but it's a little different than it is with United. There was only some select partners that get access. Who were they again?
Oh, if you go to House Rules and then Access, it'll show it to you. But it's just like their close partners, like not SkyTeam partners, but just think like Air France, all their codeshare ones. Yeah, admitted. And then yeah, so Air France, LATAM, KLM, Korean Air First and Prestige, and then Virgin Upper Class.
Right. Wonder why. So SAS just joined SkyTeam like a month and a half ago, and it's interesting to see that they're not on the list, but that might be coming. They fly out of LAX, of course, and they're moving all their flights to JFK now. So it's kind of strange that they're not on the list, but as a serious transatlantic carrier. But good to see that there are better lounges in the pipeline. So what sets them out? Have we heard anything about them?
Yeah, so the LAX one has like an outdoor terrace, and LAX as well, and it's coming soon to JFK. They have like a private channel, so that way you're just escorted. Like they check your access and make sure that you're an eligible passenger. You go through a private TSA channel, and then you're just in the lounge. So it's a pretty awesome ground experience, and unlike any other U.S. airline offers. In addition to that, I know that they have like a brasserie at the JFK one. They have massage service, and you can get like a free like 15-minute treatment. showers. It's definitely gets crowded, especially at JFK and like during I think the mid-afternoon time at LAX, and then like late evening, just due to like the way the departure banks are. But I think
Right.
JFK is definitely going to be more busy just because of how many transatlantic departures that they offer out of there.
Yeah, but it'll take off the pressure on the LAX Sky Club. I use that quite a bit because I have access to that through American Express. So when I fly, sometimes I fly Delta for the last leg. I live in Northern California, so I have an hour flight from LAX all the time. Like late last night, I had a flight from LAX on Southwest. But and that Sky Club is kind of busy. So if you get all the business people over into the Delta One lounge, it'll obviously improve the situation. New lounges are better.
Definitely.
So, and
Oh,
yesterday we heard some news about from Alaska and their program mileage plan, which is kind of interesting. I think the most interesting part was the one that you mentioned earlier this morning, which is that will be starting giving EQMs on redemptions,
yeah.
which is quite generous. We've seen that. I guess this is to you know, we know that there's a lot of stuff going on with Alaska behind the scenes, and that they're the only last carrier that kind of has a generous system in when it comes to carriers in the U.S. But the example that they're showing here on the screen is if for example, if you fly round trip on an economy class ticket or any cheap ticket from Seattle to Tokyo round trip, you get the mileage is 9,538 miles round trip, which takes you 1/3 of the way to, not even more than 1/3 of the way to, it's up to the 25,000 level.
Yeah.
That's pretty generous compared to Delta. They give you based on what the ticket would have cost, right? Not based on the
Yeah.
mileage you fly.
Yeah, definitely. So I know Delta, it's 10,000 MQM or 10,000 miles redeemed equals $100. And then, yeah, for this one, I mean, this kind of eliminates in a way the need to do a mileage run with cash. You could potentially just do it with miles. So although it might not be, you're redeeming your hard-earned miles for something that's not that enjoyable, but you could potentially use your miles to fly from Seattle to Fort Lauderdale or Seattle to Frankfurt. And with that, though, if you're 10,000 miles short, you can just redeem your miles for that Condor business class redemption or even economy redemption. And in return, you get elite status or a bit closer to elite status.
Right. And you can also spend your way up to status. So the next year, every $3 you spend, you will get an elite qualifying mile on their credit card, which is not the most best return on a credit card that exists today for sure.
Yeah.
But still, it's an option. I
Yep.
do
And if
spend a
it
little bit of money on that card, and it's kind of crazy that how easy it now becomes.
yeah.
And wait, there's more. You can also earn elite qualifying miles for every 3,000 miles earned with our growing number of eligible non-airline partners. So taking a lift or doing all
Dining.
sorts of things that you can do, shopping partners and things like that will be eligible as well. So with the same ratio as using the credit card, 1,000 per 3,000, so 1 to 3. And then last and not least, they have kind of like American or like also Hyatt has like threshold stuff where you get a little bonus for each what they call milestone rewards. So when you get to when you get to 10,000, you get to pick one out of these things. So it's seven. Delta also has kind of some of the same stuff, but not to this big of an extent. After 10,000 elite qualifying miles, you get 750 bonus miles, or you get to pre-order a complimentary bill for your flight. You get a Wi-Fi pass, which is hopefully on the way out soon. Wi-Fi will probably hopefully be free for everybody.
Yep.
Try MVP status for a trip, double miles on non-air partners, and upgrade your next Hertz Avis rental. So that means that you have the opportunity to do double miles, which means that then all of a sudden for your non-air partners, you have the ability to accelerate that miles the awards that you get on EQMs. You see, where it says earn double miles, and it means that you're 1.5 instead of 3 with the earning for the of spends or miles you earn from non-partners. So this can also, there are elements here that you can accelerate.
Yeah.
Next is obviously the 20,000 elite qualifying miles, which gives you their low tier MVP, lowest tier. Actually, so I thought it was 25,000, so it's only 20,000. That means that round trip to you took in economy to Japan is actually halfway.
Not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a high status, but it gives you a lot of things, including Ruby privileges, which means check bags and various seating options and various airlines and things like that. So, and also you accelerate your earnings, so 25% bonus miles on Alaska when you fly, and also their partners. Upgrades to first class, it can happen. I've seen it happen, especially if you're in a market where, like here in Sacramento, updates are pretty easy from here, getting to Seattle, but or San Diego, and they also fly to some other destinations
Los
from here.
Angeles.
But yeah, and then do get Avis Preferred Plus status, which is it's given away in a lot of places, but still. And then for the next round, $25 off a future flight at 30,000 miles, 4 Wi-Fi passes, try VIP Gold for a trip, which is also a little bit interesting. $100 off the lounge membership is one of the things you can pick. You move up to MVP Gold, which is 40,000. I thought that was 50. That is also kind of a crazy low tier when you think about how many partners Alaska has now through One
Yeah.
World. You get, of course, Sapphire gives you access to a ton of lounges
Yeah.
outside of the U.S. and
Cathay's, Qantas.
yeah, British Airways. You don't get the Mac Daddy, but you definitely get a nice one. Complimentary premium drink when you fly main cabin, so they will give you free stuff when they come around and on all the flights that you take with Alaska. They are complimentary same day changes, meaning that do they collect fare difference there? I don't think so.
No, I don't think they do even now.
Right. And then let's see here. You have a 55-mile perk, which is kind of mimics other things. You got a lounge pass. You got 2 upgrade certificates, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
You got MVP for gift MVP for a trip. You can give somebody that you like or don't like a MVP status for a trip. And then, of course, Emerald status you get at 75K. That is, now easily achievable, and that gives you access to to first class lounge at Heathrow and the Wing,
Qantas first in LA, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
all the fun first lounges around there. You have to be on international flights. I'm sure that they have the same thing as American have, that you have to be on an international flight. You can't just show up and enter on domestic flights, right?
But
So
kind of, but like you could, so okay, say like the Qantas lounge at LAX, up until I think they tried to kind of change the access rules a few weeks ago, but you could use that. So as long as you're using an international airline on a domestic flight, you can use that lounge. So you can't use the Alaska lounge when you're flying from, say, LA to Sacramento, but you could use the Qantas lounge from LA to Sacramento since it's an international airline.
I'm not sure about that. I know that I can with British Airways do that. I have top tier status on British Airways, but I don't think you can use Alaska status to get into the Qantas lounge on a domestic flight. I think that's not going to work. I might be incorrect on that, but that wouldn't make any that so. The way that it usually works on all these airlines, like for example, I have Star Alliance Gold status from an international airline. I can go into the United Club when I travel domestically, and when I travel domestically here, I can also go into the flagship line lounge with American. and also the Qantas First Lounge if you have Emerald. You'd only need Sapphire to get into the flagship lounge, but it can't be a U.S. carrier. So I'm quite sure you can't get into to those domestic when you fly domestically with the domestic thing, because you don't even get into the Admirals Club without having on just with status. So let's see. Maybe you can look that up and double check
Yeah.
in the meantime. The 85,000, they are doing 15,000 bonus miles, which is, then 25,000 miles off an extras redemption. What's an extras redemption? I'm going to look that up a little bit and see what that is.
Yeah.
It is extras.alaskaair.com. Let's see what we have here. Oh, so it's like dining and stuff. So dining and movies and over 35,000 miles. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be. I haven't checked out this portal. We're not going to do that now, but we can look into that for a future conversation. More lounge passes, more upgrades, give MVP gold for a trip, nominate someone for MVP status, so you can give them it permanently. Then they have their top tier, which is 100K MVP gold. Which has some choice benefits in and of itself. They have 50,000 bonus miles, 75 miles off extras redemption, Alaska Lounge membership plus Alaska Lounge Plus membership, complimentary Wi-Fi on every flight, 4 upgrades, and nominate someone for MVP gold status. Extra benefits so you get President's Club with Avis, which doesn't really mean anything. Complimentary meal when you fly main cabin, complimentary drink and chocolate when you fly main cabin, and and then the Emerald status. Of course, you also earn more miles. So there's these milestones look good. There's more miles. There's more lounges and stuff like that. So I think that this is a good move for sure. But I'm a little surprised about the how generous they are on the on elite status stuff. Do you think it'll make it a little bit more crowded out there?
I think so, and like just harder to get upgrades. And also too, so I checked my thing that I was talking about. I think so sorry about the misinformation there. Tommy was correct and I was incorrect on that. So they were restricting access to BA people or whatever foreign airline, like the Qantas Lounge at LAX was recently denying access to people that were, say, flying a short haul itinerary, but you use it a foreign airline status. But Alaska or American status was never allowed on a North American itinerary to begin with. Yeah.
Well, so they started to restrict it for. I think when you come in from an international flight, you can probably still use all of it. But all right, so let's see. I have another interesting gig going on here, which is the airline with the most social media followers. It's Qatar Airways. Did you know that?
No, I thought it would be like Delta or Southwest. I don't know.
No, these guys are very heavy duty into TikTok. Like you kids are into TikTok, right?
I don't use it. It's too addicting.
Yeah, there you go. So the number combined across all platforms is it's kind of interesting to do this, and you've got Qatar Airways as a surprising number one, especially since they are people who are bloggers and influencers and vloggers and people who are reviewing their flights and talk negatively about the airlines. It's happened multiple times that people have been banned. What's the name of that guy? There was one dude that
Josh Cahill?
Exactly, got kicked off. How did that resolve itself, or is he still banned?
I think he's still banned as far as I know.
Crazy. That's just idiotic. Yeah. And then you've got Air Asia, which is the second one. It's like a cool young airline type of stuff. Pretty big in Asia, though.
Yeah.
Now I've flown with them once, or have I flown a couple of times between Singapore and Kuala Lumpur, just an hour and some change there for work. Third, Singapore Airlines, which is also kind of surprising because of their kind of a quiet airline. They don't like to talk too much about anything. Yeah. Qantas is fourth. and Ryanair is fifth. And
Shocking.
yeah, Ryanair is have a Twitter account that's really fun. I don't know if have you
Yeah,
ever checked that out.
I have. It's hilarious. Like if you haven't checked that out, check it out.
Yeah, they're fun on Twitter for sure, and I haven't looked at it in a while, but there are some. The way that people come in to complain about something that's stupid, then they totally make fun of people, and I think that that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm surprised Emirates isn't on the list because I feel like they're one with like a huge social media presence and just kind of like that iconic airline, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's an airline that they're pretty active and they spend a little bit of money for sure, and I was surprised of the list altogether, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It probably shows that if you're big on the TikTok, then you're going places for sure.
Yeah. So
All
here's
right.
some funny. Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
here's some funny like if you haven't read it yet, here's some funny like Ryanair meme things. So it's like the husband's like 2 rows away, and the person's like, "It's okay, Ryanair. I don't like my husband anyway." And then they wrote, "You're welcome." Just like little things like that is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, they make fun of a lot of things. They make fun of everything from Donald Trump to various other politicians to famous people who are complaining about various things. And yeah, it's cool. I think it's a good time. All right, moving on to Lufthansa. It's funny that they started delivering these new airplanes with the new business class, and they put a couple of coach seats because there were some weight issues in getting the seats designed.
Yeah.
And the business class has been delivered on several 787s and 350s, but the issue has been that there were some weight things and delivery and various things. So and some production delays. And what we're seeing now, it says they have 5 350s. They have more 787 with the Allegris business class does not have first class in them. It's currently empty, like Lucky says here, but it looks like now we have a timeline. And the sixth is set to sixth 350, which has the new product, is set to be delivered on the 27th of October, and that's going to be the first. So a few days after, they usually fly it around and do some things with it first for a little bit before they put it into action. It's just a few days later we'll put it into action. So very soon you'll be able to get the new first class, Allegris first class, which is kind of exclusive, and it's. The picture we've seen, these are the old pictures from that's business up there. This is first a full door, a thing, and a double bed in the middle, and some other cool stuff. So a huge change from. Have you ever flown Lufthansa first class?
No first class for me just yet. I want to one day for sure.
There you go. Yeah, well, you've got a long way to go, so that'll happen. It'll just be a lot more expensive with miles. Back in the days,
Yeah.
I used to commute on Lufthansa first class, or every time I went across the Atlantic, you could purchase U.S. Airways miles back in the days.
Oh,
So for about $1,000, it would cost you to fly Lufthansa first class. That's how much how many miles you could buy with U.S. Airways to just then flat out redeem
wow.
to fly it. And of course, it's that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But you can. It's not that far fetched. Still, you can purchase Avianca miles for about. That would be about
Probably
like
when there's a
12,
sale.
$1,400.
Yeah.
Fourteen
They're
hundred
open
dollars
one
you
up
can buy
though.
Avianca Life miles and redeem for. United miles are harder to earn. You don't earn them faster than back in the day, but it's obviously much more expensive to redeem. So it's gotten rougher in that sense. So if it'll cost you $1,400. The only problem with Avianca is that you got to call in order to book first class, which is obviously, for those who know Avianca, it can take forever to get through on the phone, and it's also not a very pleasant experience either. It says they won't initially sell them. It says they take delivery. The plans won't initially be selling it on this jet. Instead, the airline will initially seat some business class passengers in the cabin. The goal is to get at least two 350 with Allegra's first class into service before formally selling first class to account for the possibility of aircraft swaps. Initially, it might be possible to reserve first-class seats if you have higher status, like miles more on Circle, because those are you can get row one, for example. There are some seats that are blocked for the for their highest status and things like that. So I guess there is a way there. But next year, when more planes are going to come into
Into service? Or?
yeah, I think it'll be a lot of opportunities when you redeem for them. There are a lot. First of all, there are a lot less seats. Like on the 380 now, are they 16 or 10? I don't remember. There's many. And like for example, Air France, Air France has only 4 La Premiere seats, and so I think it'll. What is it? I think they'll have 6. I think it's 2 rows of 3.
2 rows probably 3. Yeah, with the middle being 1 seat.
I don't agree with this thing with Lucky saying that he hasn't seen it in real life. I think he needs to see it in real life before I would like to see it. I don't necessarily care about the window on a plane. Do you care about a window on a plane?
Yeah, it depends on the airport, I guess, but yeah, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, it's for me, I when I cross the Atlantic, I prefer not to look out the window, but there's not very much to see. It's just either clouds or water. Sometimes a little bit of Greenland. So it's exciting. I think it's good that they finally get underway and that they're keeping first class alive. Although it'll be a less seats, but there's going to be some opportunities for sure to redeem for this. I don't know how the structure will be, if they're going to block it or whatever. We'll have to see. It hasn't been shared any information about that, but I don't think so. And also there could be aircraft swaps and things like that all of a sudden you can wind up on one. So we'll see some reports out there. It's not a product that's not available to redeem for.
Yeah.
And yesterday, the new slots at DCA were that was the one you sent me. I actually didn't follow along on that yesterday. And then there are some. Do we want to talk a little bit about why DCA is such a hot number and what the reasoning for the reason why it's important to have flights from there and why there's so few?
Yeah. So there's like a rule that was enacted probably in like the 70s or 80s that limited the number of perimeter slots or perimeter flights that were allowed. And I think at one time there probably wasn't any. And it was like I think it's only 1,500 miles or something along those lines. So flights above that couldn't fly out of DCA. And that was basically to protect United's competition out of Dulles when that airport was built in the 70s. So ever since then, there's been a limited number of flights. So there's, at this time, I know like American to Vegas, Frontier 3 times a day to Denver, Delta American, I think Delta and American to LAX, JetBlue to San Juan, Alaska to Seattle, United to San Francisco, and maybe one other one that I'm forgetting. And maybe Southwest to like Austin or Dallas. I think that's it. But yeah, those are the main ones.
Right. And now they're opening up a few more. Obviously, it's attractive because it's 10 minutes from downtown. So totally. And obviously it has restrictions. Among other thing, it's the proximity to downtown is also problematic with the White House, which means the takeoffs there and landings are particularly interesting.
Yeah.
So it's the new ones that are up. That are coming up now is American Airlines are going to do San Antonio. Alaska is one San Diego. Southwest is adding to the current service that American has there to Las Vegas. Delta Airlines gets to be alongside Alaska to Seattle, which already has a service to Seattle. And San Francisco, United gets another flight, which is great, and meaning that you get 2 flights, I think they have two, or do they have one or two now? I don't remember,
So San
but they at
Francisco
least
says
have one.
one.
But it's most
Yeah.
of the flights go to Dulles, which is pain in the butt getting there.
Yeah.
That means that Spirit was rejected because of the non-limited incumbents and various rules. I think it's just BS the way that they are. These rules are. It's obviously to protect the current carrier, the big carriers, and to deny competition in markets. Flights, the non-stop flights out of there tend to be pretty expensive, which they're obviously nobody cares about that because they're all vast majority of them are paid for by the government, right? So it's a lot of government people that fly on those flights, but it's extremely convenient, of course. So if you have the dough to fork out money for first class, or can stomach 5-6 hours in coach one way or 4 or 5 the other, then it's good news, right?
Totally. Yeah.
All right. Moving into SAS, Scandinavian Airlines. So if you're flying, have you ever been to Scandinavia?
Yeah, to Denmark and Sweden.
Beautiful. So when you were in Denmark and Swedish, you probably noticed that the second largest hotel chain, there's not a lot of American hotels. There's nothing from Hyatt and very few from Marriott and very, very few hotels from Hilton as well. But there are two big chains in the Nordics. One is it's what used to be called Nordic Choice, which is now called Strawberry. And then the other big one is Scandic, and Scandic has probably 15, 20 hotels in Copenhagen, and probably even more in Stockholm. So it's a big gig there. As we've discussed earlier, Norwegian, which is equally large as SAS in Scandinavia, is partnering up with Strawberry. They're doing a loyalty program together called Spen, and there's going to be a Avio style currency between the two, which is kind of unique because it's a hotel and an airline. SAS had decided to respond to this by making a partnership with Scandic. And Scanic here, the first thing that they're going to be doing is to giving status matches. So if you have status on SAS or status on Scanic, they'll be reciprocal with the status, meaning that there were a lot of Americans that took advantage of the status matches between various things and might have SAS status now for maybe a brief period of time. So that's why I thought it would be good to mention it, that when this goes live, you can get a status with Scanic. I have it myself. I have what used to be called Level 3. It's now called something goofy. They changed their program around in the beginning of September, on September 1st. And but what do you get? I used to get 10 euros per day to spend in a shop, and there were some nice upgrades and some late checkouts and things like that. You can also use the gym at the level I was in at the hotel, even if you're not staying there. So you don't. You can go to the gym at the hotel. The gyms are not like at the big hotels, though, so it's not really. They're not as good as one might be used to. So small heads up on that. Then we've got the last, or the second to last post we wanted to talk about is, where did you stay when you were in Scandinavia, John?
We stayed at an Airbnb in the city called Vila no, not Vila. It was in this small little town outside of Legoland, Billund. We went there.
Billund, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then we stayed there, Clarion Copenhagen Airport, and then like another Airbnb by Copenhagen Airport. And then we went to Malmo for the day. So that was our only time in Sweden.
Right. Oh, you stayed at the Clarion Hotel. What do you think of that hotel?
It was fine. I mean, I think that was 6 years ago, I think. So it's, I think, kind of the same. It was nice enough. Free breakfast was really good, I thought. The location's amazing with it being so close to the metro and the airport. So no real complaint.
Yeah, you can take both the metro or the train into the city. The metro kind of goes towards the east of the city. And then if you take the actual train, which is the same price, you go straight into the central station, which is less than 15 minutes.
That's nuts how close it is. Like there's very few airports. I mean, Amsterdam, Lisbon, maybe Munich, but besides that, like very few airports, not Munich, but Lisbon. But yeah, like besides those, very few airports I feel like in the world are that close to the city.
Right.
Such good
Yeah,
training.
no, it's very close, and Stockholm isn't that close. Stockholm Arlanda Airport is pretty far out, but they have an airport express train that goes, 150 miles an hour, so it
Wow.
takes 15 minutes. And same in Oslo, it takes 17 minutes. Also, way outside of town, it goes even faster. The Oslo train goes a little bit faster, but it costs. The difference is that it costs a big chunk of money. It costs. 25 $35, $25 to $30 in Stockholm, in Oslo $25, and in Stockholm maybe 30,
Okay.
while in Copenhagen it's $2.
Yeah,
so
totally.
so because it's not a high speed train, it's just a local train that happens to stop there, and the metro also goes to the airport. So that's kind of what I like about Copenhagen, and also the location is great, and also you go across the bridge to go to Malmö like you guys did, and right after you guys stayed at that Clarion, no, right before you guys stayed at that Clarion, I think it's 2017 or 2018. It was a Hilton.
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention that. Yeah, because I remember at the time there's like photos of both like on their website and stuff like that. So
Right. Yeah, there was. And it was one of my favorite Hilton. They had a nice little club, and you could choose either breakfast in the club or in the restaurant. And there was a lot of amenities and cool stuff you got access to. So I missed that for sure. I stayed there recently when we had our loyalty summit, CXM, in April in Copenhagen. We stayed when we got in. We came in 2 days early. We stayed out by the airport when we were landed on our flight, because it's very convenient to get all your stuff there. So we stayed there last time, and you can use the trick is, it's funny that you use your choice points, which can be acquired very, very reasonably.
yeah.
They have multiple sales a year. There's one going on right now where I think you get 50% extra, and then you have one that goes there. What is the daily deals? And since nobody is very much well, actually, there was an anomaly last year. This year wasn't a problem. I was able to buy Full House did I buy for both me and Melinda Full House? I don't remember, but you get you get the value of those points is really good in the Nordics, because the Nordic choice hotels aren't junk. Like most choice hotels are kind of not nice at all.
Yeah.
The vast majority, like almost all of the
Quality
hotels, are
inns.
not desirable to stay at. But in the Nordics, they are. Like you stayed at that hotel.
Yeah.
It's a great hotel,
Phenomenal. Yeah.
and so when you redeem on the Choice website, you can choose any standard room, and always go, and it's the same rate. And the deluxe rooms at that hotel are the plus rooms, which are huge. If you Google it, and go into the Frequent Travel University YouTube channel, I have 2 reviews from that hotel, and the rooms are over twice the size of a regular hotel room. So, and
Wow.
it's the same redemption. So it's kind of a trick. It is a lot of hotels. You can do that at the Clarion, the Hub in Oslo. You can do it at that hotel. You can do it at a couple of hotels in Stockholm. You just pick the deluxe rooms, which is kind of amazing.
Wow. Pretty cool.
So yeah, it's a cool little hack, and it's also a nice hotel. Like you said, the breakfast is all, but that's kind of standard when you're in Scandinavia. All right, moving on to United are kind of doing some exciting stuff, and in typical. So obviously they're using their clunkers equipment for a lot of for all of these routes, except for the ones that are 737 Max ones. But there are definitely some interesting new things appearing on the schedule for this coming summer, meaning places that never has had a flight. The first ever flight between the United States and Greenland is coming up. That's one to be excited about.
Definitely.
Meaning that you can get over to Greenland without having to go to Europe first. There are some Canadian goofy
Air Nord?
airline or Air Greenland, I think, flies also to Canada, but it goes to a really remote location where it's very difficult to get to. So it's
Iqaluit?
not.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it's like Iqaluit or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So this one is going to be going to Nuuk in Greenland, which gets you around the country easy, and it's probably going to be at a premium. I bet you it's not going to be a cheap flight from Newark, but it's exciting that you can go there because it's not really that far. How
Yeah,
far can it be? Like 4 hours, 3.5 hours,
probably. Yeah,
maybe?
yeah, because it's 7 to London. It can't be much worse than that. So
From Newark, it's not even six
6.5.
something. I've
Yeah.
had flights that have been 5 hours and 50 from JFK.
Wow.
It
Not
depends
bad.
on the tailwind.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, it goes in a different direction, kind of. It goes pretty high up north, but still, at the end of the day, it's 3-4 hours. I'm guessing it'll be. So that's interesting. Then also they've got their clunkers to Palermo, Switzerland, with no
Or
Switzerland,
Italy.
Italy,
Yeah.
Palermo, Italy, and Sicily, and that's probably on a 767 if I recall correctly from what I saw yesterday.
Yep.
And Bilbao, Spain, which is kind of also interesting. I've never seen any overseas routes there.
No.
A cute little town in the Basque Country in northern Spain. Not a lot of people go there. I hope people take advantage of that and that it becomes popular. And have you ever been to Spain?
No, I'm close. Like I've been to Portugal twice, but never Spain. We're supposed to go, then I got sick. So
Right.
fun times.
All right, and then we've got Faro in Portugal, which is in the southern part in the touristy area. These are obviously all summer routes, and interesting also that they're using air mics. Old continental Micronesia, they used to call it air mic. They still call it air mic. They have some 737-800s that they use based in Tokyo, and they're going to be flying to Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia.
Pretty cool.
And Dakar, Senegal, also on a 767 from Dulles. So that is kind of interesting. You
Yeah.
planning on hopping on any of these?
I'd like to. I don't know if I will, but going to like Taiwan is somewhere I want to explore more. I speak Chinese, so it'd just be a cool little
You
thing to
speak
experience.
Chinese?
Yeah.
Wow, like fluently?
Maybe not fluently, but I took Chinese for 3 years in high school, and then and yeah, it's just been something that I've been into. So
Fascinating. That is a fascinating thing. Okay, we're going to wrap it up real quick. I know you have to go
yeah,
back to school. The
yeah.
last thing on the list is the lawsuit that American Airlines filed. American Airlines has been on the warpath, defending their bad business models, and they've been after Skiplagged for many, 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 many years. And they actually got a judgment yesterday where American Airlines has been awarded $9.4 million against hidden ticketing company Skiplagged. And it's a federal jury that did it, and it is. The judge ordered Skiplagged to pay American Airlines $4.7 million in actual damages for copyright infringement and $4.7 million ill-gotten revenue derived from Skiplagged's misconduct. I find that kind of interesting, and
Uh-huh.
that it's more based on a copyright claim, right? So that's obviously the way that they are. It's kind of petty, if you ask me.
Okay.
That American, as the only carrier, has kind of there has been a couple of attempts in the past, but the other guys have just letting it go. Um, um, it's a they've already changed their business model. So, what do you think?
Overall, yeah, I mean, it's definitely strange. Skiplagged has not become as useful as it once was, but I think overall it's just pretty screwed up in my opinion. So, yeah, it's
Yeah,
interesting.
why don't you head out, John? And thanks for joining us this time
Thank
around.
you.
And I'll wrap it up. I hear that
Sounds
there's
good.
stuff going on in the background for you, and
Yeah.
enjoy your day. And we'll see you at the next recording.
Thanks for having me on. Take care. Bye.
All right. So just to wrap up this thing, for those who don't know who Skiplagged is, I'm sure that you all mostly knows who they are. It's you can just they will literally find throwaway tickets opportunities for you, where meaning that from Sacramento to Dallas might be $500, but if you fly the same flight from Sacramento to Dallas and have an onboard tickets to New York, where there's a lot of competition, it might be $199. So you save a ton of money by not taking that flight. Of course, you can't use it when you check a bag. you can't use it like on a regular basis if you fly a lot, because it's against the terms and conditions of the airline. Normally, what you could do is just when you get to your destination, you can stop by a ticket counter and say, "Hey, I have to go home, or I have my plans have changed, and I'm not going to be able to go to New York," and you cancel my last leg. Usually, a smart thing to do. I don't think there are a lot of point-to-point travel now that makes it a little bit less relevant. There are a lot of more competition in some areas, but the U.S. market really is the country with the least competition with the way that the airlines are built here in this country. But it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with Skiplagged. I don't know how much revenue they have, and if they're going to go out of business, if there's going to be an appeal. We'll keep an eye on that for the next few months to come, and see what's happening next in that saga. Been going on for a few years. All right, that's all we've got for today. I appreciate you dialing in, and we will see you at the next time. This is the Miles and Points Report, episode number 59. We'll see you next time. Thank you.